Hello. Today I'm going to be talking with somebody quite special, somebody who I got to know through my healing practice and had the benefit of helping a family member of theirs. But I'm really more interested in hearing about their experience as a community manager, giving back. This is somebody from a completely different part of the world. And I love to hear different cultures, different ideas, what their spirit of giving is, and what we've both been taught is as you give value, well, then money follows. I'm really interested to see, whether it be money, whether it just be value in general, feeling, amazing on top of the world. I'd really like to see where she's found that giving value has actually added benefit to her life. As always, I never know where these conversations are going to go, but I suspect that you're in for a real treat. All righty, Cindy, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to hear about how you are overcoming adversity. This is not at all where I expected this conversation to go, so I'm already really interested to see how you're using some of the superpowers that you've learned in order to conquer your outer reality with your inner reality.
Okay, so here in New Zealand, we are going through some extreme times, testing our inner world, how we react to it. And for me, I've definitely, since doing spiritual work and awakening, which has only been not that long ago, possibly a year and a half ago, I've learned to dial down the fear. And to dial down the fear is it's just always a very simple answer. Love is always the answer.
So if you're in a state
Because
of fear, how do you personally find your way to love? Or
okay,
do you
so
not let yourself get in fear? Maybe that's a better question.
yeah, when we chatter in our mind, that's we're in our mind because we've been given our mind to keep our body safe, but we are not our body and we are not our mind, we are our soul.
Mm.
So when we start to move into fear, we're moving into this duality where we are separating our body and our soul. We are separating and we're fearful for our body, basically. And we're living in our mind and our body. But when we cohesively know that we are love, that we are whole, then we move towards love. And that's where we surrender into safety and moving away from fear, moving away from contraction and more into expansiveness. And whenever I actually, before I got into a spiritual awakening and did EMF with Peter Sage and
Mm.
knew about healing or any of these kinds of things, I had fear every morning when I woke up. I woke up, my daily routine. I wanted to say routine because I didn't choose it to be a routine, but my outlook was always in fear. And I actually got my freedom when I realized that it's just very simple. There is only love. It's actually that simple.
And so, can you delve in a little bit more about that? Like when you say that you would wake up in a state of fear, fear probably means different things for different people. Fear could certainly be scarcity, or fear could literally be like, "Hey, I'm afraid for my life." Can you maybe share to whichever ability that you're comfortable to on what sort of fear were you experiencing? And then if you were feeling fear, what was it about Peter's program that kind of stuck out to you?
Okay, so when we got the COVID lockdown, I definitely got stuck because I looked around me and that whole kind of outlook and the feeling around me and the news and the people and the country and everything was kind of living in fear.
Mm-hmm.
And people were nervous and they were scared. And I looked around me and saw people vibrating low and getting it's a word that I don't like to use, but there were a lot of people who decided to depart here.
Ah.
and because of fear and separation. We were locked down. We weren't allowed to see anyone. We had to be in our homes. And I think the first one was like 8 weeks. So we had to, you know, there were people who couldn't reach out at all. And they were living alone, and, you know, particularly elderly, maybe didn't have any tech, and they were just isolated. But anyway, I looked at this and I decided, and there were people that were, you know, eating too much, drinking too much, taking too many drugs, whatever they needed to do to try and put a plaster on that hurt. And I looked around and I decided for myself that I needed to put one foot forward every day and create a little bubble for myself to keep going. So I decided that because I couldn't see my friends, that I was going to sort of create virtual friends. So I turned off all my media and I subscribed to all, you know, great talkers, great speakers and inspirational speakers. So I subscribed on YouTube, on social media, to all these great messages. And I thought, well, if I can't see my friends, these are going to be my friends in lockdown. And what happened then was there was a free seminar through Real Summit, Real Success Summit. I can't remember the name, but before, I would never, ever press a button on something because I would be suspicious of life. But I pressed the button and I got this free seminar because they wanted to help people in lockdown. And there were all these inspirational speakers, and Peter Sage was one of them. And I heard the name Peter Sage, and I'm from South Africa. And when I left South Africa, I left in pain because I had I've seen untold suffering in South Africa, and I left in pain. So I kind of had unfinished business with Africa. But I heard that Peter is a businessman, and also that he had ties to South Africa. He did charity work in South Africa. So I wrote his name on the board, on my vision board, and I didn't know why. I didn't know him. I didn't know why. And then I left it for a bit. And out of Peter's program, I signed up to USM Ultimate Self Mastery, and on one of his talks, he was talking about AI. He was going to this AI meeting in Dubai, I think it was. I think it was Dubai. And so I put it on the board, and I wrote there his name, and I wrote AI, and I thought, whoa, this is like really, really intriguing. I don't know the man, and I'm writing it on my board, and I'm going to just send some love to this like symposium, because the reason for the AI meeting was to create a body of a group that would monitor AI, that it keeps on an enlightened path, on a good path, and it doesn't veer to the dark. So I thought this was amazing. It just absolutely intrigued me. I don't know anything about AI, but I know the concept of AI, and I knew that it could veer dark if we don't keep a balance on it. So I was just thinking, hey, I'm going to send love to this symposium. And then Peter said that he couldn't go for whatever reason. It was a paperwork thing or something. I thought, oh, okay, that's the end of that, you know, forgot about it. Then what happened was when I went to Tenerife for Peter's birthday, I met a person, and this person got Peter the invite to the AI meeting. And I thought, whoa, that is a bit like intriguing. Did I actually meet this person? And I thought, whoa, okay. So this person, I send them love, and I send this this kind of great wishes and energy, so that that body that governs the AI has the correct energy, because my feeling is that there would be a lot of technical people there, but they possibly need a kind of a bit of a spiritual kind of energy boost
that
they may or may not know about.
That is so fascinating to think about as far as consciousness, right? My mind's been kind of following and almost creating its own story and wondering, oh my God, like, you know, the consciousness itself is going to be informed by whatever information that we allow it to consume. But if it's artificial intelligence and it can build upon its own consciousness and reason out what things actually mean, I hadn't actually considered the implications of a spiritual influence over AI. That's fascinating.